Business Insider that did some follow-up where she said it's categorically false to call her a millionaire. She said that this very year, or maybe last year.
No, this year. I think it was early.
Was it this year? Yeah. Her net worth just reached up to $30 million, an increase of 35%, 100%. As you said, Ashbrook, much of the squad member's wealth comes through her husband's winery and venture capital firm. An interesting story, right? I mean, she's filing a disclosure where she's worth like enough to cover the rent 1 year.
Right.
In the next year, all of a sudden, Representative Ilan Omar's personal fortune exploded to upwards of $30 million in 2024. The Minnesota Democrat disclosed just months after telling the press it is ridiculous and categorically false to say she's worth that much money.
So this was first reported, as you mentioned, by a guy named Andrew Kerr at the Washington Free Beacon, and he has subsequent reporting out as we speak on how this story is developing. And one point I want to make that is very, very important. The reason why AOC follows the loophole is so she can avoid discussion of the wealth she's generated while in office. If Ilan Omar had simply followed this Democratic move, then we might not know.
Well, as a reminder to our audience, the loophole is in of itself a loophole because there are people who engage in civil accommodations in one form.
It's the whole like not having to disclose because you're not married, and like AOC's with that weird redhead dude, and they're not married, so they don't have to. But
They get away with it.
speaking of like. I want to clarification. When I first saw this, I was like, which spouse is it? Because didn't she marry her brother? Like, is it the brother husband or is it the new husband with the? And it turns out it's the new husband.
Oh,
It's
good.
not the-
That's an
not the
important
brother
clarification.
husband.
Thank
No, I
you.
appreciate that. Thanks. That's, again, commitment to
This is the husband
integrity.
she's using for money, not for citizenship.
So this husband, Tim Minette, is a former political consultant, and I guess his new net worth, which is being factored in here, this $6 to $30 million, is derived almost entirely both from that winery, and then he also has this venture capital fund.
Yeah.
That in 2023 only was worth $51,000 according to the article.
What happened?
That's a lot of capital to deploy, 51,000, and then turn it into 30 mil.
What happened?
That's like putting up Pelosi numbers.
It's amazing.
I'm like,
all
did
of a
you
sudden
buy
that happened.
Powerball tickets or what?
Turns out there is, forces that will pay good money for the kind of consulting that Minette is doing, and apparently that has something to do with this venture capital firm. Omar's extraordinary accumulation of wealth in 2024 could raise uncomfortable questions, and this is according to the Free Beacon about her wealth. Democrat, she in February told a Business Insider that she's been the subject of a coordinated right-wing disinformation campaign. And that's why people were calling her a millionaire when she was a thousandaire. Well, it turns out then she filed her paperwork and it all came to light. But I find this hilarious on two levels. One, like, I have no question in my mind that there's something nefarious about that situation. None. But secondly, I find it also incredibly funny that there's somebody as high profile as Ilan Omar, who does cable shows on the reg. She's the subject of every single reporter's, she's a quote a minute everywhere, providing the Hamas wing of the party's view on everything from foreign policy to tax policy. And yet there's not a single person who walked down to the House of Representatives reporting office and was like, hey, can I see her financial disclosure before I ask her about whether or not she has a view on tax policy?
Yeah, right.
Not one did it until we got to the Free Beacon, which, by the way, they do great reporting.
They do.
reporting.
And I want to go a little bit more into detail on this relationship because, if you're like me, you just remember she had the brother husband, but this is the new guy. So
I don't know if it's actually confirmed that she married her brother.
Many people are saying
are saying that, but we don't know that.
But here's the thing: so it says here in the article, it says the new husband, the husband she's shaking out for the cash. Minot's business activities have long been a thorn in Omar's side ever since they married in March of 2020. They were both married to other people when they met, so like this is through and through.
Okay.
Oh, so there's a touch of infidelity in this story as well. I didn't know that.
But the pair began an affair. This is from the article. While Minot served as a political consultant for Omar's campaign.
Oh, see, he worked for her campaign.
And which paid his firm a whopping $2.9 million during the 2020 election. So, like,
One hand washes the other.
it's incredible, right?
Yeah.
So then she can, because, according to federal law, you can't actually use campaign money to pay yourself.
Yep.
We went through that dark period in American politics. We outlawed all of that, but that was the pee-hole loophole, by the way.
Right.
Where
She
they
got
weren't
away.
married.
She got away with it for a while.
Got away with it. So she hired who she was dating.
Yep.
And
So if you can't get the money, you give the money to someone that you then marry to get the money later. It's like you leave the bag of cash outside, you know what I mean? Like it's like a bagman situation here, but it gets even better. So it says here, Minot's other company, Rose Lake Capital, was in no better shape at the beginning of 2024. The venture capital firm was worth no more than $1,000 to Minot at the end of 2023, Omar disclosed, and had just $42.44 in his bank accounts on February 2024. And now look at him.
Yeah, I mean, so this is how Rose Lake Capital describes itself on its website. I find this
This is
fascinating.
critical.
It says on the website that it claims to have $60 billion in assets.
What?
Again, this is a former political consultant to a congressional campaign. Apparently $60 billion in assets under management. Boasts, quote, an extensive global network and expertise at structuring, quote, legislation.
So think about that.
Structuring legislation.
They're like, well, you see, we've got this kind of like a cash and carry situation going with Ilan Omar.
Yeah, I mean,
which
this
we
is-
call structuring legislation.
But this is table stakes in the modern Democratic Party. This is how Hunter Biden ends up on the board of a Burisma, a Ukrainian natural gas company. It's how Biden's EPA puts $2 billion in Stacey Abrams' pocket to put convection ovens in underprivileged communities in Atlanta.
And he had $100 in the bank account.
Exactly.
This guy, that was actually a more reputable organization. They had $42.44. $42.44, and all of a sudden he's managing $60 billion of assets. I don't know. Maybe there's a couple of Middle Eastern countries that could have potentially provided.
Maybe an investment from Somali pirates.
I mean, there's nobody in America that would ever allocate that kind of money to anyone. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They wouldn't.
It gets better. What if you could force the government to allocate money to yourself? This article this is so crooked. Shortly after Minot launched Rose Lake Capital, Omar formed the U.S. Africa Policy Working Group, where she leads a group of 20 members of Congress, quote, committed to building a partnership with the continent of Africa. Since then, both Omar and Minot have been pictured at events hosted by the EV Group, a company that helps facilitate international investments in Africa. Omar was the keynote speaker at EV's African Leaders and Partners Forum in 2023, where she advocated for U.S. investment in Africa and called on Congress to institute policies including a, quote, $44 billion lifeline for African communities. During that same forum, Haler, in his capacity, it gets even better. In that same forum, Haler, in his capacity as Rose Lake's CEO, facilitated a panel discussion on the challenges faced by investors seeking to get their funds out of African countries.
Wait a minute. So I remember in the 90s, and you'll make fun of this, but there was a great SNL sketch where Bill Clinton walks into a McDonald's and he illustrates this problem very clearly. Your McDLT, aid to Somalia, intercepted by warlords. Yeah. Like he literally eats it. I don't know if you see it. You have to go and click. It's one of the best ever. But what he described doesn't seem all that different from what's happening right here.
Well, I want to know where he came up with the additional 16B under management. He was just going to do the 44B from the U.S. taxpayer.
Yeah, right?
Put that in the old back pocket to manage
Yeah.
on behalf of
They're like,
the
oh, we'll get there. We'll get there.
But then another 16B showed up somewhere.
And finessing $3 million from her campaign, like, I mean, you can say a lot about them, but they know how to make money. But it's taxpayer money is what they're doing it with. I mean, this is insane.
How is there not a massive investigation into this?
Hopefully there will be.
Here's the thing is, so Andrew Kerr, who like Ashbrook mentioned, doing phenomenal work, there's a little bit more late-breaking news on this. that just dropped. Andrew Kerr, new Rose Lake Capital, the venture capital firm owned by Omar's husband that she values at up to $25 million, has removed all references to its expertise structuring legislation from its website. So like now that there's folks hot on the trail, they're like, oh shit.
Not experts anymore.
They're like, we can't actually just advertise the pay to play.
Yeah, it's
at least not
insane.
on the website.
It's insane.
You're going to have to call for that. It has to be in person, no recording admissible, obviously.
They're like, please show up to the forum and large on Mark bills, please.
Also, dude, great that like they invented a new term, structuring
Yeah, they're just
legislation.
structuring legislation.
Just structuring it. You know, not like they're a lobbyist.
Like it's
or
actually
anything.
pretty simple. You just give us the money and then you tell them what to pass.
Here's the structure. You see that duffel bag? In my trunk.
Put it in the trunk.
Your chicken nugget, aid from Great Britain, intercepted by warlords.
Incredible. So I hope you enjoy. We're going to try to do a little bit more of this to give you guys a little something extra. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode. It's absolutely fantastic. We're talking about the insanity that is the Democratic Party and how, like, the death of Trump and all of that conspiracy theories that were going on. But then it's, like, even gotten worse, and we get into crime. We have a great guest, Eric Schmidt. We play a game. Chuck E. Cheese is even involved. You're going to love every minute of it.